epigenetics is a science of how environment, and then very specifically how our perceptions of environment control our genetics, okay? That less than 1% of disease is even connected to genetics at this point. And so there's a very important story. And it's interesting because when you put epigenetics together with quantum physics, the relevance of quantum physics, let me emphasize that right away. The relevance of quantum physics, it is the most tested and validated of all the sciences on planet Earth. There is no science with more truth than quantum physics. So we start with that premise, okay? Then we go to the next understanding, and that is one of the first principles of quantum physics is that our consciousness is creating our life experiences, okay? Then this is where epigenetics now comes in, is between the consciousness and the body is epigenetics. That's what connects them together, okay? So in any healing thing, both of these are very important. Now, there's a chart that I'm going to send you, just a little from a PowerPoint, just a one slide, okay? But it's really important because it talks about, let's say, this is, do I have it in the right direction, increasing?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say this is consciousness, 0 at the bottom, 100% at the top, okay? Then here's another line, and it starts and comes down, okay? And this one is what I call support. So you have consciousness and support, point. When you have no consciousness, 0, you need all the support you can get. As consciousness goes up, support necessity goes down.
Until it disappears.
It disappears because there's a point you can walk on water. So, but basically the principle of quantum physics is consciousness is creating our life experience, period. Then you put epigenetics in, it goes, mechanism of how consciousness translates into life experience. That's the epigenetics in the middle, okay? Now, the relevance about that is epigenetics, and this is the part where it's interesting because of the nutritional component, okay? In my research, I took one stem cell, put in a dish by itself. It divides every 10 hours. First there's 1, 2, 4, 8, double, double, double. After a week, 30,000 cells in the Petri dish. But the important fact is they all came from one parent. So that's the definition of the clone, that they're all genetically identical, 30,000 genetically identical cells. I split that population into 3 different Petri dishes. And I feed them growth medium. They live in their environment. Their environment is called growth medium, okay? I say, okay, that's what we mix up in the lab, the cocktail. I say, yeah, but what does it represent? Blood. So if I grow human cells, I look at the composition of human blood, and then I try to make a copy of it, and I call it human culture medium, okay? Now, what I did in the experiment is I changed the composition of the chemistry and made 3 different versions of culture medium. Basically the same, but a couple of changes, okay? And I fed each dish a different version, a different environment. That's what they're in, a different environment, okay? And in one dish, the cells form muscle. And in a different environment, different culture medium, they form bone. In a different environment, they form fat cells. The point was...
Like same fish in different fish tanks.
Yeah, same fish, genetically identical, but you fed them differently.
Yeah.
Okay? So I say, well, then the point was this. The genes did not control the behavior. It was the environment because they all had the same genes. So whatever expression they had didn't come from the genes as a source. Okay? It came from the environment. So then I split this, and this is where our discussion becomes important at this point. I say, well, then it comes from the environment, which is equivalent of blood, okay? And I make culture medium, the blood. And I always say in my lecture, and I tell people, I said, I don't buy my ingredients at Kmart. I buy the best damn ingredients in the world. Why? Because when I would compromise in any way and make culture medium without the best ingredients, within minutes in the microscope, I could see the cells get sick, okay? So the first thing it says this is the blood. Another analogy, very simple. We are a skin-covered petri dish. There are 50 trillion cells inside. And the culture medium is the original one, blood. So we make the culture medium in our body, and as the research revealed, the composition of the culture medium controlled the fate, the genetic activity of the cells. The genes didn't do it. It was the environment, okay? Then I say, now there's two factors in making culture medium. One of them I just mentioned was the basic composition, the nutrients and all that have to be, no compromise in growing cells in a culture dish. You get the best you can get, the most, balanced, whatever you can put in. That's number one. But number two, and this is the part that is part of the story that I think should unfold as well, is that in addition to nutrition in blood, there's information, whether it's hormones, growth factors, regulatory agents, and all that stuff that are coordinating the body. And I say, yeah, they do. It's just the same in the tissue culture dish. What I put in that dish, the information determine whether it's going to be muscle, bone, fat. And if I do a lousy job on the nutrition, I get sick cells. And I can turn them around as soon as I refeed them with a good medium. That's the interesting thing. Right away, they just switch back. But the part about the issue is this: the consciousness going up. Most people are I'm just going to suggest, are down low on consciousness. Well, if they're down low on consciousness, what it says is this: they got to be much higher on support. As their consciousness gets higher, the need for the support goes down, okay? So most people at this moment, their consciousness is not prepared to give them the health that they're looking for, their own consciousness. So the idea is this: well, if you got that kind of consciousness, at least provide a damn good nutritional background. Because you put stuff in that's really not that good, the consciousness will just employ it to make a less healthy image. The consciousness determines exactly what's going to happen: health, disease, everything. Okay. So the nutrition part becomes fundamental, as I just talked about, but then it also becomes incumbent upon understanding that as this process is going on, increasing consciousness of the participant will enhance and facilitate the healing if they have an awareness of, I'm not just doing this because it was new agey. I was doing this because the science of it is like, my goodness, I'm making the best culture medium, the best blood, and that in my consciousness, I'm doing this. Why? I'm taking control. That's the whole idea, the consciousness. I'm not a victim, which is the program that they all have from the beginning when their first 7 years of developmental programming, it was characterized as 95% of their life. There's an interesting quote from the Jesuits. It says, "Give me a child until it is 7 and I will show you the man." That's a famous quote. And basically, they understood the fact that whatever the program is I got in the first 7 years, that will control 95% of my life. And I say, so when it comes to health, what programs does the average person get? And the answer is this: oh, when you're sick, we go to the doctor. I go, okay. And I say, so what is the program that is downloaded in child's head? I don't heal myself. I must first go to the doctor to get healed. And so you give up power of your health. So not everyone, the vast majority of people do not see themselves as in any way controlling their health. They see they're victims of things, and that the doctor is the resource to fix the victim part. And the fact is, that's why placebos work so good, is because it was basically the idea the master is giving you the healing. That's going to work for you. So consciousness becomes a really critical part of the story for them, because if they've been programmed to be the victim, the whole idea of what you're saying is, I don't need to be the victim, I can be the master. But my thoughts are involved. My thoughts are manifesting. And all of a sudden I said, well, that's exactly what quantum physics, the first principle, my thoughts are manifesting. So the biology is a translation. Consciousness is translated by the brain into complementary chemistry. The consciousness of love got blood dopamine, growth hormone, oxytocin. I say, yeah, that's a picture of love translated into a chemistry of health. That's what it comes out to.
That's how Narendra explained to me that herbs work. They bring in their consciousness, their prana, and they, by resonance, restore the natural flow of our consciousness.
Right, and this is 100% agreement on this, but I have to extend it because it says, so I keep bringing in the herbs. Do I have to bring them in my entire life? I go, no, this is the part to bring you up to a health level. And now that you're getting at a health level, if you get your consciousness around this, then it frees you up, because as I said, as the consciousness went up, I don't need as much of the support.
Yeah. And one question, now that you've completed the detoxification program, that Organic India and I designed, and,
yes,
and you've had that experience, what role does detoxification in particular play in this whole interaction of systems that we're talking about?
Yeah. Well, as I said, if my support is low and my consciousness is low, I'm in a lot of trouble. And so as I do any effort to improve my support, nutrition, exercise, change consciousness, all these are important things. As my consciousness starts to go up, I need less of this. But where are most people, the one you're talking to? They're down here. They're not up here.
I get that, but I continuously read all these doctors from Harvard and nutritionists from all these prestigious places that say, the whole thing of detoxification is a gimmick at best, snake oil, and dangerous at worst.
Of course. Because the idea is this: it's not in the interest of the pharmaceutical industry for people to become healthy because they lose their money. And in fact, just to emphasize this, a couple of months back, Goldman Sachs is the biggest investment company in the world, where people put their money in, okay? They had a shareholders meeting a couple of months back. Their science advisor came in and told them not to invest in cures for cancer and disease. They said, if you do this, you're going to lose all your money because you can't sell the pharmaceutical drugs.
That's amazing. But my question is, because these doctors, they say that detoxification is a gimmick, not that getting healthy by eating healthier and that's fine. But there's nothing that detoxification programs do, because the body already knows how to do it. And within a few hours, the liver gets rid of everything.
No. The body, I'll just answer that question very quickly. The body knows how to do it, but the consciousness has to be supporting the body to do that. If the consciousness is not supporting the body, I need a support mechanism to help me do the detox. When my mind is right, sure as hell, I don't need anything. But nobody is at that level. So the point about it is, don't wait for your mind to get to that level. You'll die before that. First, use what you need to detox. And it's really interesting because a colleague of mine a friend of mine who I recently met just a few months before I got here, his name is Rashid Buttar, B-U-T-T-A-R. He was a conventional cardiologist. Oh, well, there you go. He's a conventional cardiologist. He had his own issues and started to find out that that it was toxic environment. And he started doing detox. He's a ortho. What do you call that? The other doctor. It's not, I'm trying to, begins with an O.
Yeah.
Osteopath. He's an osteopath who was a surgeon. And so where does he's gone is he started to do the big detox thing. had miracle cures, right? The medical board called him on it in North Carolina. 5 years he had to fight the medical board because he was trying to show that detox was the way of clearing all the cancer, all the other issues, and the detox. They kept trying to say he was a quack. And the reality, at the end of 5 years, they cleared him because they could not find, they were saying, oh, you're giving people false hope, like people, because he takes a lot of patients that the medical people have let go, saying, hey, they've got nothing left to do. And he's taking them. So they said, oh, you're ripping off people that we already said you can't do anything, and that he's doing something that wasn't, in the game. He beat them 5 years. He's got detox centers, but now it's not just detox of the chemistry, it's also detox of the consciousness.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's the whole program. But as I said, most people are so low on the consciousness right now that if they don't have a support mechanism to get them ready, the consciousness may come too late in the game. So they need the support right now.
That's the point. It works.
So it works that way, okay?
That's the point.
And yet the resolution is, okay, you don't have to do this, like this is not a lifetime, like take statins for the rest of your life. It's like, no, you don't have to do that, but you have to learn how to take care of yourself as well. So the culture medium, the blood, without the consciousness, you're going to put some nutrition in there and lift the quality of that culture medium up. That's the nature of the game. Best culture medium you can make. Well, that's what you're eating food for, nutrition, to supplement your culture medium. So then obviously the science of what you're doing is profoundly important at that level right there. That's a really important level, because bad culture medium, bad cells, no problem right there. And yet at the same time, I think it's also helpful to give them a little insight into you're not a victim. The system, I'll give you the whole 90%, I think, of the illness is this. The immune system uses a lot of energy when it's functioning. I mean, that's why when people are sick, they don't sometimes have energy to get out of bed. It uses tremendous energy. In a world of adrenal stress, you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, and stress hormones are released into the body. They're mobilizing energy to run away from the tiger. Fact. I say, well, how do they do that? I say, well, first thing is they inhibit any function not necessary to run away from the tiger. Like the immune system, you got a bacterial infection, big deal. The tiger's chasing you. Stress hormones shut down the immune system. As a matter of fact, therapeutically, in transplanting an organ from person A to person B, the recipient is given stress hormones before. Why? To stop the immune system from aggressively rejecting the graft. But the same stress hormones also shut down the GI system, growth, maintenance, servicing the body. Why? It's not necessary if you're running away from the tiger. Now, here's the problem. When the system was designed, the only thing you had to run away from was the tiger. And once you got away from the tiger, you got no more stress. So it was only used stress was only legally used in history for a little period of time to escape the immediate danger. And then go back into growth, immune system function, maintenance of the body, take that over again. But in today's world, it's the stress is, 24/365,
One of the distinctions that I talk about is how just like the immune system uses up a lot of energy, the digestive system uses up a lot of energy.
And that's why,
when we are digesting all the time, it starts shutting down immunity, even mentation. That's why you fall asleep after a big meal. And the thing is, the body cannot do anything because for thousands of years, it depended on that period of time where there was food. So it shut everything else down so that it can really get it, because it didn't know when the next meal was going to come.
Absolutely.
And now we're eating 24/7, 365.
and fast food and junk just to put something in there because the consciousness is not there. The consciousness is not on health. Consciousness is survival. And this is the biggest issue, and that we need to come back to that balance again. That you need to do two things. You need to bring up your nutrition game, and you need to bring up your consciousness game. And the immediate step is nutrition. Why? Because consciousness is going to take you a little longer for some people to get there. So I don't wait for the consciousness. I don't take the nutrition. Okay. I use my own example when I was getting into all this idea stuff about how consciousness controls it. And I was stressed out, and there was a hurricane there, and a tree fell down in the driveway, and I couldn't get out. So I was in the middle of the hurricane, cutting the wood and everything. I got like a pneumonia, bronchitis thing, right? And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to clear this with my consciousness. Here was the problem. My consciousness wasn't that strong. The bacteria were dividing faster than my consciousness could keep up with it. Then there was a point that got realistic and said, I'm not able to handle this with consciousness. I need to go and get penicillin. Okay? What I'm saying, that story is a parallel. They have these problems up here, but they better start down here with the nutritional part first to get this raised, get the game raised.
And let me ask you personally, what was your experience like when you did the detox program? What did you notice? What changes?
The really good part for me was I wasn't really hungry a lot. I felt very satisfied. It took a few days, like 2 or 3 days, to get into the routine, right? And then there was a point where I wasn't like, okay, what's the next meal? It wasn't like, okay, I'm drinking a shake. I'll have a bowl of salad. That's it. Okay. For a guy who, was doing like, give me some food, this was like, hey, not even hungry, and I'm okay. And I haven't lost energy, and I'm just cruising. So
you lost weight.
I lost weight.
People told you how great you look.
Yeah, I got healthy on it, really, and that's why I just.
Did you feel better?
What's that?
Did you feel better? Did you sleep?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. It was. I had more energy in my life. I had more energy, and consistent. Like straight.
Well, the next time I'm going to send you the 7-day program so you can try it.
I really would love to try your 7-day program for sure. I really would love to. And so the summary is very simply this regard, that the nature of epigenetics is environment, and then I say perception, and perception overrides environment. I could be in the best environment in the world, but if I perceive it's a scary place, the best environment information is not going to control me. It would be my fear is going to control me. So environment, then perception. And this is the hard part, is we can help the environment. This is what we can do. And this is what your work is really involved about. First, create a damn good environment. Because if you wait like me to get that consciousness, I would have died from the pneumonia before the consciousness would have got there. And it's like, no, take care of this environment first, okay? And that the simple, beautiful part about it is the study with the cells and the culture medium is the exact parallel of the human skin-covered petri dish with culture medium blood. And I say, yeah, and where do you get the ingredients? I go, well, nutrition right away is the ingredients for culture medium. And in a lab, there is no way that a research scientist compromises on the quality of the ingredients put into the system. It would be the last thing a scientist would do, because it will destroy your experiments right away.
And
that's how culture media. What's that?
And we are an experiment of consciousness.
Well, that's the whole idea. And I think that's why the story works out well. And that's why I think the process of saying, wait, stop, stop. It's time to do something. And the first thing to do is to clean up this environment, okay? And it's interesting because Rashid Buttar's got a big place or two where large numbers of people are coming in for detox. kind of stuff like that. He's a very interesting guy, and I think that at some point connecting you with him would be really good.
I would love that. Bruce,
Yeah, I think.
Bruce, I have an idea, because I'm sure you're busy. I can get from this conversation, by transcribing it, I can get what I need for the book, so that I don't have to make you work anymore. I'll send you the thing before so that you can give me your seal of approval.
I would love to look at it and help out if there's anything I could add to it. I would love to do that.
This was so beautiful that I don't think anything else is needed right now.
All right. Well, thank you, because I look forward to even doing your 7-day because I've already experienced the first one, and I'm real happy to be a guy to experience the second one now, whenever.
We will organize that really soon.
I appreciate it so much. And again, if there's anything you want to add, any references or anything that I mentioned, anything about, I can provide you with those references.
When I have the specific ones, I'll shoot you an email.
Okay. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, I thank you very much for your investment in your career and your world work, because and especially at this time of high stress, people have lost balance and they need to come back home.